Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. This is where we talk pack of football. Steve Sparky, Fifer Sports Radio 1250 WSSP in Milwaukee, along with Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times, who happened to...
I thought you were going to say who happened to take the first week lead, 1-0 Woelfel, according to the votes that came in from last week's show.
Oh! I didn't know the vote.
There you go.
Our executive producer... Our executive producer, Greg Geeson, is shaking his head and saying that is not true.
What does he know?
Well, he's the one that had to put the whole voting thing together.
Yeah, he runs the Democratic Party in Chicago, too. So.
No, again, I'm not taking shots. I'm not in charge of either party. I'm in charge of the Sparky Party. Now, this is the deal. Last night,
the Sparky Party.
Yeah.
Is that like the Tea Party?
That's the new radical group in this country. You'll hear about us in a couple of years. Okay. I got to ask you this. You went and saw Four Seasons last night?
Oh, I did.
Jersey Boys, the play in Milwaukee.
It was incredible. It was everything I had expected and more. Thanks to you for hooking me up. You're the man. You've only seen it, what, 20 times?
I've seen it 4 times. I'll see it for the 5th time coming up tonight.
You know, it's funny because you always raved about it. And I thought,
forever.
Okay. Yeah. And I've had other friends that have seen it, and you go in with all these high expectations, and you go, inevitably, there's going to be a letdown. It's not going to measure up. It exceeded what I thought.
And you know,
was exceptional.
You know what's funny? It's kind of like the Packers season. You come in with these high expectations, and invariably you're going to be let down because of all the injuries every year. And that's exactly
perfectly. That's why you're the host that you are.
That's exactly where we are with the Packers right now. More injuries. This time it was James Jones going down. He may or may not play against the Browns. I'm guessing he won't because it's the Browns. And then there's Randall Cobb, who has been put on the PUP list, and he'll be back in about 8 weeks. Now,
doesn't matter.
If he comes back.
To paraphrase you, it doesn't matter.
Why doesn't it matter?
Because as long as 1-2 is behind the center, no worries. They're going to be very good no matter what.
You do realize Miles White, Jared Boykins,
I will go on record right now, in a couple of weeks will become a household name. I'm saying it right now.
In whose household, yours?
He already is. He is going to emerge as the Packers' next, quote, great receiver. This kid, for one thing, Rodgers loves him. And if Rodgers loves you, you got a big-time chance. And I don't know if you noticed last Sunday, he threw them about 5 times already.
Yeah, he looked awful on most of them except one.
No, one play he broke. Two of the passes were way over his head. I mean, they were uncatchable passes. But the one that he broke, I mean, that was really impressive. What was it, like a 34-yard run or whatever, off his shirt? Yeah. So I will stand by my prediction that Boykins will be the guy that will step up for him.
Yeah, we'll see. So that isn't good for the Green Bay Packers, having both those wide receivers on. You say it doesn't really matter. I say that there are 2 things that this says. Number one, and I said this on the Wendy's Big Show on WSSP, and I'll tell you my theory as well. Couldn't you have pictured... They fly home from Baltimore, the Green Bay Packers. The plane lands. They get off their charter.
Yeah.
Jermichael Finley gets into his whatever he drives, his nice car.
What is this, Sparky storytelling?
He drives home. Yeah. Court Finley, his wife, is waiting for him at the door.
That's a good start.
Bottle of champagne and a couple of glasses.
Where are you going with this? You know, this is rated PG-13, okay?
She says, honey, we're going to make ourselves a bunch of money now. Because I'm telling you, Gary, you could not have written a better script for Finley right now. In a contract year, 2 of Rodgers' top targets go out. He now has to be the guy with Jordy Nelson. And if you're playing this Packers offense, Jordy Nelson's going to see a safety high, cornerback underneath. They're going to take him out of the game plan, which means Finley's going to be the guy in this offense going forward. Plain and simple. Either he's going to put up or shut up, one or the other. And I think he's going to put up because he can see the dollar signs right now in front of him.
What indicators have you had? Now, how many years has he been with the Packers? 5 years, 6?
Several. I don't know.
Okay. What indicators have you seen where Finley has, quote, consistently played at a high level?
He played well in the second half of last year.
Yeah, for a couple games.
Yeah, in the second half of last year he played
and then
well.
he had a couple games where he was a non-factor. Mm-hmm. He is what he is. He reminds me of Manny Parra when he was with the Birds. All these people had all these great expectations because Manny Parra had all this great stuff. And what happened to Manny Parra? big disappointment. Although last Sunday he finally showed that they were going to go to him more but that was out of necessity.
And that's what it's going to be going forward.
But again, defenses are going to counter with that and have said, hey, we might double up on Finley now.
I don't think so.
Let's see what these other guys.
But I think it's going to be Jordy Nelson who's going to get the double. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be.
You know what? If I'm an opponent of the Packers, I don't double any of those guys.
Okay,
they don't need to be double covered.
All right, fair enough. But you come into this game against Cleveland this week.
Right.
Joe Hayden is arguably the best cover corner right now.
Outstanding.
In football, okay?
Outstanding. Yeah.
He can take Jordy by himself.
Correct. He's out of the equation.
Right. So from that perspective, your guy,
Jerry Woelfel, baby,
better do something. Or Miles White.
My
or
fantasy
Finley.
football league tip: if you want a receiver, pick up Watkins.
Okay, but this also puts some added pressure, hopefully,
yes,
on the Packers quarterback to actually hand the ball off to Eddie Lacy consistently going forward and take some pressure off him. Now, Eddie Lacy has gotten the ball the last couple of weeks, and he has looked good. He is getting better as we're going forward here. You saw him make a couple of nice long runs this last week. They have to continue to hand the ball to Eddie Lacy.
Hey, do you remember what was about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, Josh Sitton had 3 penalties in one game? Remember that? Mm-hmm. He was horrible. Ever since that game, the light has gone on. He has been dominant. I mean, there have been some openings for Lacy that are just incredible. I mean, you could have ran through.
We talked to Josh.
Let's not stretch it.
We talked to Josh Sitton on the Big Show on our Team Tuesdays at like 4:35 on the Big Show, and he is about as candid as they come.
Sure.
And every week he brings up, yeah, we'd like to run the football more. Yeah, we really like to run the football more because that offensive line knows. And I make this point. I think they may be a better run blocking line than they are pass blocking line right now. And especially Don Barclay at right tackle.
I agree.
Barclay's struggling in pass pro, but in run blocking he's actually been decent.
I don't think for a pass-happy team that the Packers are, their offense line is a real good passing group right now. I agree with you. But at the same time, yeah, you're talking about the Packers losing all these wide receivers, and understandably so. But I'll give you a classic example where a great quarterback, it doesn't matter who your receivers are. All you have to do is look at Tom Brady this year. Mm-hmm. Did you see the guy that on the last
drive?
Here
we go again with Tom Brady. Just stop.
No.
Just stop.
Tell me who caught
Kenbrell Tompkins.
Yeah, who? Did you ever hear of him before?
I've got him on 5 fantasy teams. I drafted him in 5 leagues before the season. Yeah, I've heard of him.
Okay, but the average fan.
Well, that's not my fault. Look, it's not my fault that people don't follow college football. That's not my deal.
Yeah.
What I'm telling you is this guy's not a slouch, and all I continue to hear is, oh, Brady's playing with a bunch of nobodies. If Kenbrell Tompkins was in Green Bay, he'd be playing. If Kenbrell Tompkins was in Cleveland, he'd be starting. I mean, look, this guy's not a bad football player. Now,
I'm not saying he's a bad player, but
they dropped a lot of passes in New England this year. They are the worst in the league at drop passes.
I agree, totally.
So I'm not saying Brady doesn't deserve credit. Brady deserves credit.
He's unbelievable.
He deserves credit. Now, when they get Gronkowski back here, then you're going to see this offense probably go to another level.
Yeah, but my point is they basically didn't skip a beat without losing their receivers. Same with Packers.
He lost his mind at the beginning.
By the way, Packers are now 1-0 without Clay Matthews.
Right.
So, just letting you know.
Come on, you two.
I brought this up last week.
I know.
I said they would go, 4-1?
Yeah. Well, now Nick Perry's out. So now you can have Nick Perry out for a month.
Doesn't matter.
You could forget about Nick Perry. Mike Neal is hurt now in practice yesterday, so he's got a bruised shoulder. He's not going to practice today, Thursday, when we're taping this. He didn't practice Wednesday. They're going to have to wait and see how he is on Friday. If he can't play on Sunday against Cleveland, you're going to have Mulumba and one outside linebacker.
And who's going to strike
fear? And Nate Palmer at the other outside linebacker.
Who's going to strike fear into you from the Cleveland Browns?
Hold on. And an inside linebacker, you're going to have Lattimore and a Hawk.
Now, is Whedon going to start from Sunday?
Yeah, Brandon Whedon started. Yeah.
Whedon probably couldn't start at Wisconsin.
It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. Your quarterback is awful. I mean, the Packers could have like 11 horrendous.
You could say whatever you want about their offense.
Yeah.
Their defense is top 10. So while you could say Cleveland.
Yeah.
So the Packers offense is going to need to score points.
Sure.
They struggled to score against Baltimore. They're going to need to figure out how to score enough to beat Cleveland. I'm not saying they're losing this game. Packers are winning this football game.
Oh, there isn't any question.
The injury situation in that linebacking core, if Mike Neal can't play, is getting real dire right now. They're running out of bodies. Literally, bodies is what they're running out of.
You think Casey Hayward's got any eligibility left?
No. Casey Hayward practiced, but I don't know if you've heard this. Yeah. But now we don't know where we're going to play Casey Hayward, apparently. Because Tramon Williams has done so well in the slot, and Devon House, even though he got benched, was playing well outside. Now they don't know what they're going to do. Micah Hyde played more than we've seen Micah Hyde played last week, too.
Well, their secondary actually isn't bad.
McMillan.
With the exception, you beat me to the punch. With the exception of, we talked about this before this season. We talked about how they could have drafted a guy in the first round this year at DB, but they went a different route. It's not only showing up now, it's really going to show up in the playoffs when teams really, really go after them.
He is Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky. Fifer, thanks for tuning into another edition of Pack a Talk, Sports Junkies style, right here at RacineSportsZone.com. He is the talented Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times.
At least you didn't say the lovely.
I'm Steve Sparky. Fifer. Other side of the camera is Greg Geeson. He'll be the one putting together the voting process for next week's videos.
It'll be 2-0 then.
Right here. You didn't win.
You did.
Voting process.
Early precincts said Woelfel had a wide lead after the first week, so go ahead.
Was that in a drink you were having, the early precincts? We'll see you next time right here at RacineSportsZone.com.